The Comic Book Syndicate is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Mwah. Morrison's done it again.
That is like the biggest applaud ever.
Stop it!
All right.
Hey, we're just talking about Wolverine, okay?
That's it. Wow, that's like the biggest applause ever in the history of the Comic Book Syndicate.
So what are you doing?
Okay, actually no. We have our guest today is Julie Sando. She's in the back. Julie Sando, come on down!
The only contestant.
Yes. What? Sorry. Anybody? So, Julie, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you is, where you from, what you're doing.
All right. I'm a photographer. I'm an artist. I teach at the School of Visual Arts, and I teach design and visual culture.
At what school is that?
The University of Windsor.
Very nice. A friend of mine wanted me to ask you. He's not here right now, but like, what high school did you go to? I mean, sorry.
Oh yeah, it's
Answer
a
the
local
question.
show, right?
Yeah.
I'm a local girl. I went to Massey.
Okay.
I think it shows. I
Yeah.
don't know. Does it show?
No.
There was a
He's saying no.
there was a lot of soft drugs at that school, weren't there?
There was a lot of drugs.
Huh?
Well, you know what? Let's not get into drugs and stuff like that because it's a local show. It's a community show.
Watching.
Bring us into the Comic Man.
Sure. We're gonna review Wolverine: The Brotherhood, which this is one of the original actual. I guess they call them floppies.
Floppies, eh?
Yep, floppies.
For the computer.
Exactly. Wolverine: The Brotherhood, reprinted from Wolverine, Volume 3, numbers 1 to 6, written by Greg Rucka, drawn by Darrick Robertson. So anyway, this is the first of I think 3 trade paperbacks written by Greg Rucka. So I gave this to Julie because you said that you.
Well, not having known anything about X-Men beforehand, I had asked you to give me something to review that wasn't a typical hero story doing something heroic. I was really pleased that he's rather unpredictable and he's kind of a complex character. I learned really quickly that he is a mutant and he relies on his senses, and I like the way the story and the images told me that. There was a nice panel where there was close-ups of his eyes, his nose, his lips, and it told me everything I needed to know visually, which I really quite liked.
We're dealing with a really good artist too. This artist has worked with And in doing this Wolverine story, and only sort of comic nerds will know this, but this artist did Transmetropolitan. He's now working on The Boys right now. He's done a lot of work with, Garth Ennis, and he wrote his own stories as well. So this person has like a nice understanding of what it is to tell that visual story with the comic book medium. And I'm just glad to hear that. Also,
Well, did it make it easier? Obviously, well, you've already explained that it has, in a way. When the art is good, when the art in a comic book is good, it makes it a lot easier to read. Rather than the people that, they produce a great story, but the art's not so hot.
There were a few frames or panels, I guess, that actually made me like stop the page flipping and study the frame. There was one, not in this particular book, but in another, where there's a female character who gets maced in the face.
Okay.
And then there's a side profile of her with like this chemical oozing off her face. And it was like disgusting and beautiful and everything you would ever want in a picture.
Now, as an art teacher, when you're reading the book, when you're reading any of these comic books, were you looking at like, and
No,
again,
composition, panel layout.
exactly. Were you looking at it saying,
I just want to be entertained as well. I mean, if you can get a good story and that can hook you, and the images tell you additional information, it's pretty seductive.
Are you also aware that he's a Canuck?
I knew that.
Like he's a Canadian boy, which is always what's.
we don't know if it's official though,
No,
right?
it is.
But
It's
it could
official.
be.
We've gone through the entire story now. We
I
all
just-
know. I was there.
In Windsor, he's in Windsor.
He's here right now.
And most of the Wolverines in the world are in Canada.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yes.
That's
Exactly. I think that's natural. Let's check that on Statistics
I
Canada.
did check.
Right?
Well,
It is actually. It is. It's right here.
This is when this was out. When this writer was doing Wolverine, this was actually selling well in men's stores, which I don't know what a man's store is. Like maybe they sell guns and testicles or
baseball
something.
bats.
I don't know. But
Yes.
the thing is this is exactly the kind of thing that I can hand to anybody and they would like it. And it reminds me of like, I don't know, the old Kung Fu or the Hulk show, where you have one guy with a little bit of fantastic element to his persona. He's got the claws, he's got the senses, and at the beginning of the story, he sort of comes in, meets this girl, and it goes from there.
Oh,
but
not
there's
only
no
that.
X-Men, there's no costume, there's no mask. It's just this guy with the claws.
Well, no, it's not even the guy with the claws. The whole story starts off with a guy with a book and a diner,
he
and he's
reads.
Yes.
reading, and he's a reader, and it's that kind of brilliant sort of idea of like, look how sensitive that reader is, But he's big and he's brawny, but he's short and he's stocky, and you get this whole thing from it, and
He's a
not only
beast and he's an intellectual.
and the story leads on to him being a detective, as he solves this problem and finds the killer. And I love you.
I would recommend it. Would you recommend it?
I would.
That's great to know.
For me, it's
George?
I'm not a hooker. What?
we're not convinced on that yet. No, we actually have someone saying yes that you are a hooker actually in the back, and they have a $5 bill. So that actually could be. Okay, let's go to break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit about Wonder Woman, and I think Linda Carter. I read that in the yeah.
Really?
Oh, so
Wow.
Want
Who,
to
me?
touch the hiney. Okay, no, come right back and we'll talk about some Wonder Woman. Yes, Linda Carter.
Hi, heroes. Mike L here. I'm here to tell you my 5 favorite comics of all time. Number 5 is The Fantastic Four by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Number 4 is Superman from the 1960s by Otto Binder, Ed Hamilton, drawn by Kurt Swan. Number 3 is the Girlfriend Trilogy by Jeffrey Brown. Number 2 comic of all time is Animal Man by Grant Morrison and Chaz Truog. And my number 1 recommended comic of all time is, no surprise, Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. You can order these comics anywhere, so please do so.